Welcome to Crafting on the Plains. My name is Jacintha and this is my channel mostly about counting cross stitch, but also occasionally about other crafty endeavors that I get up to, like knitting, quilting, sewing, that type of thing. Those are usually at the end of the episode. I am so thankful for you for joining me today. I am so thankful for my new and returning viewers. So welcome or welcome back. I am just always so grateful that you have chosen to take time out of your day to spend a little bit of it with me. So I'm going to get into the crafting content. I've got just a few cross stitch projects to show, and then I've got a little bit of knitting content at the end. So I'm going to just jump right in. I have only a few pieces that I've been working on, and I will explain why that is and why some of my plans that you may have seen if you watched my last episode have changed. So the first thing I'm going to show is a project that I have been working on pretty consistently every week, and that is my Nature's Journey stitch along, which is with Sprouting Lupine, and it's in Just Cross Stitch magazine. So I am working on this spring section, and here it is. I'm really enjoying this stitch. It is so much fun to work on. I do have the digital version of it, so I'll post a picture or have posted a picture, but I'm just really enjoying this. I do have some park threads because this is a 4-part stitch along. If you're not familiar with it already, there's going to be a summer section that's over here, and then there will be fall, and then winter will go down in this section. So this is where summer's going to go, and some of the threads are going to be used in summer, so I just parked them over here, so that way I wasn't cutting them to be used right, the next stitch over. So I have really been trying to work down this side that connects to the summer portion. That way I will really easily be able to jump over and work on the summer portion if I don't finish the spring one. I am planning on starting the summer portion on the summer solstice. The summer section is already out, and I know some people have started stitching it, which is great. They look beautiful. I have loved seeing people stitching these on Instagram, but for me, I am just enjoying this spring one right now. And I did a lot of kind of just catching up on different little bits that like needed a stitch or two here, a stitch or two there of like just one color. So I've gotten almost all, I think I have a couple things, most of this top part completed, and then I'm just working down. This is going to be a really beautiful, I don't know if it's a butterfly or a moth, but it's a really beautiful winged insect of some fashion. And I'm just really excited and enjoying it. So there it is. I'm using the called for DMC, and I am stitching this on a 32 count Atomic Ranch in cobblestone. And I love this pattern so much. Very fun to stitch. I did realize there's one other project that I had been planning on working on that I forgot to grab, but I think I put in barely any stitches on it, so we'll just save that one until next time. The next piece I have been working on is one that I pulled out to stitch on for the spring mingle. I did go to the spring mingle. I just went for one day. The Friday I got home from work kind of late and was just exhausted. I did not feel like peopling, and I sort of like thought about jumping onto some rooms. I sort of logged on, checked it out, but I just did not feel up to meeting new people. No offense to any new people, but I was just too tired to like be sociable, I guess. So I just stitched a little bit on Friday night by myself, and then Saturday I was on for most of the day. Saturday I got to catch up with some friends, met a lot of new super fun people. I had so much fun. If I chatted with you at the spring mingle, I just had so much fun and learned about new retreats, learned about new patterns, new designers, and it was such a great time. So I did that Saturday. This was not this weekend, but the weekend before. And then on Sunday, we had no internet at our house. Like the whole town was out of internet. So did not get to get on Sunday. And then by the time I think our internet came back, it was late, and I was just, I did not feel like there was any point in hopping on. So basically spent the whole day Sunday without internet. So I did continue to do some stitching, but it was just by myself. We did spend some good time outside. It was a nice incentive to get out in the nice weather and get off the devices. So, but this is what I worked on for the spring mingle, and it is a pattern that I started this year when I was at a different retreat, and it is the Raccoon. It is by Cottage Garden Samplings, and it's from the Year in the Woods series. And I am stitching it on this 32 count Lugana from Live and Die LA. And I'm stitching it 2/2, and here I am. And I'm using all the called for. I'm trying to think if I'm using all my projects are called for. I usually like to convert things, but this one I just really like the called for. There's only 2 fancy flosses that are called for, and I love that when designers are strategic about the fancy floss that they choose to have you use, because it shows that they're considering like the cost that goes into a project. So really, really impressed with that. And not every color has to be fancy floss. Some things are better if they're not variegated. Okay. So here is, I've got, of course, the Flosstube itchy nose, so I apologize about that. But here is my progress, and I did quite a bit on this. I've only been working on the Raccoon. I do want to work on the flowers soon, but I feel like the Raccoon is the part that I need to really knock out while I'm feeling motivated. I am going to modify this project eventually. So my plan, I have a few of these, and my plan is to add in the name of the animal in the Choctaw language somewhere on the pattern. So for this one, I'm thinking it's going to go, I'm going to omit this little flower that's right here and put it in. If I have enough space, I'm going to chart it out because the name is kind of long. Well, it's not as long as the word raccoon, but it's Shawi. That's Choctaw for raccoon. And so I'm going to put that somewhere. So it'll go somewhere in here. And again, here's my progress. I have found doing this like little patterning that's on the body super satisfying. I've loved doing that. It's been really nice. And I think the color of this, I don't think I told you the color of the fabric, but it is Standing Stones. So there's that. I'm really enjoying it. This was the perfect thing to work on because there was times where I was just doing fill-in, there was times I was doing counting, and there was one other project I had been thinking about working on for the spring mingle, and I just didn't end up pulling it out. And so I'm gonna have to figure out a time to work on that soon because that needs some progress. But this one was the only one I wanted to work on. Okay, my next project is my full moon stitch, and that is what I have been stitching every month on a full moon. I know this is there are some people that have like organized full moon sals that they're doing with their friends. I'm not like trying to crash somebody's sal. I know a variety of people do this, and so I thought it'd be a good idea. But as a way to motivate me to work on a project and get it out every month and try to get it finished this year. And the project I am doing is Nora Corbett Moon Glow. So here we are. And I think there will be months where I'm just not able to work on it during the full moon, like if I'm traveling or something like that. Because just with this being on a frame and having beads, like this is not a good travel project. But I am trying as best I can to work on it during the full moon. And so I did work on this on Monday. And here we are. I believe that the main thing I did, actually I think the only thing I did was work on this little leaf area. So I didn't get a lot done. This is a really, really busy time of the year for me. I am a college professor and an attorney, and we're in finals right now. So a lot of stuff, a lot of events. It's the end of the school year. I have a kindergartner, so we're doing all that stuff. Plus I'm everything's happening all the time right now. So I've been just kind of like doom scrolling a lot when I get home instead of stitching, which is bad, but I've just been so tired and stressed out and just not feeling as creative as I normally am. So that's really hard. And I know that there's a lot of people going through that right now. So if you are, you're not alone. And I'm just trying to do a little bit as much as I feel like each day and hoping that like the creative crafty bug will come back. So, but here is my progress. So yeah, all I did was this here, and I started adding in the beads. Now, one thing that is very strange, if you look on this pattern, the beads on the plant thing look white. And I don't know if that's something weird with the camera flash maybe, or if they use different beads on the model. I don't know. But I like triple checked that I was using the called for beads. And maybe there's an errata that I don't know about. That I did just now thought maybe I should look for an errata. Because the beads that are called for are these like black beads, or like dark kind of like they're not black, they're like a midnight blue. Anyway, I think they're beautiful, and I actually kind of like this better, having the dark beads. So you can see, let me see if I can get you in closer. I kind of like the dark beads better. So even if there is an errata, I'm not changing it because I bought a bead pack and I'm using what's in my bead pack. But I really like how it's turning out, even though it's different. I am stitching this on a little bit of a conversion. It's not my conversion. It is the conversion created by Cross Stitch Spells on Instagram. And she created a conversion using some of the called for, and then she subbed some of the water lilies for DMC variegated. And so like this color down here, these colors, all in these flowers are DMC variegated. This blue and the blues, oh my goodness, here's and stuff, those are actually, still the water lilies, but it is nice. So yeah, it is a really fun conversion. It's just slightly different. It's not exactly the same. But I like it. I really like how mine's looking. I think this one's a little bit brighter maybe than the original. And so it's kind of fun, but there we are. And I am excited to pick this up the next time I am doing full moon stitching, and I am hoping that by that point I feel a little bit more motivated to work on it, because this is not a lot of stitches that I put on last night. So but there we go. Or not last night, whatever day Monday was. And I think I forgot to mention, this is stitched on a 32 count fiber on a whim in the color mint. And it's 2 for 2. If I ever forget to say something, I'm just forgetful. And if I write show notes, I won't look at them. So I never gatekeeping. Just comment down below or send me a DM on Instagram, send me an email, and I'm happy to give you any information that you need about my projects. I just sometimes forget to say things like fabric and floss and all of that. So, okay. So my next project is one that I had not planned on working on. And if you saw my last video, I talked about how I was going to be doing stitching along with the Giro d'Italia, which is the bike race, and stitching a stitch for every kilometer that they bike, essentially. And thank you to Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe for reminding me. I think it is Michelle Bendy Stitchy that started that challenge. So yeah, and I watch her, so I'm not sure why I didn't think of that, but anyway, so thank you so much for reminding me of that. Yes, she usually stitches along with bike races. So my plan had been to work on my Hade, which is Mini Ravenkin. And I was so excited to start that on the 9th. I was so excited. I went, made sure my tablet was like pre-charged all the way, got home from work, pulled out my Mini Ravenkin, put it in the hoop, got my stitchy spot all set up. I was like, yes, I'm going to, do this project. So excited. And I go to turn on my tablet, and Pattern Keeper just keeps opening and closing, and it won't work. And so I was like, okay, this is really weird. So, restart the tablet, and it's still doing it, and it's still doing it, and it's still doing it. And so the tablet I'm using is a bit older. So I think that's my issue. My husband is like an IT, he used to work in IT. He went back to school and now he does something else, but he used to work in IT. And so he looked at it and his guess is that there was a recent update that happened like in April to Pattern Keeper, and when that update came through, it made it no longer work on my tablet, probably because my tablet is a bit older. There is, if you're not familiar with Pattern Keeper, your data is not saved like to a cloud. You have to regularly export your data and save it. And then if you want to transfer it to another device, you have to like re-upload that document. It's like a new pattern almost that like has part of it completed. And I had not backed up, which is my error. I knew I should have been doing it, but I just kept thinking I'll do it another time, because every time you export your data, if you then do more stitches, it doesn't save it. So you're kind of stuck with like your most recently saved, which is better than nothing, of course. So word of caution, you back up export your data periodically. If you've never exported it or haven't done it in a while, right after this video, go export your Pattern Keeper data. So I did not do that. And we have done everything we can to get Pattern Keeper to open. My husband has also done other IT type things that I frankly don't understand, to try to pull the data from Pattern Keeper and save it on a different drive so that we can export it. And apparently the way that Pattern Keeper is set up, that's not possible. So yes, we have contacted Pattern Keeper support, and I don't think we've heard, because I actually downloaded on his tablet, so he has the account that I use Pattern Keeper on, and I don't think he's heard back. I will say, I understand like Pattern Keeper is a beta and they tell you, hey, we're letting you use this as a beta. It's gonna have problems. It's not, everything's perfect, like word of warning. But we want stitchers to have this tool if they need it. So I'm very grateful that they let us use the beta. And of course it's with the understanding that this may occur, or, you know, not everything's going to work perfectly in Pattern Keeper. But I'm still very disappointed because, I had a HAID that was like 3 pages in, and I do not know how I'm going to go I don't have another tablet. Like, we're going to have to figure something out, and eventually I'm just going to give up on getting that data and put it on a new device and have to manually mark off every single thing I've done, and that is going to be terrible. If anyone has had this experience and figured out a way to resolve the issue, I would love to know, because I really I'm laughing right now, but it's a laughing, so don't cry. I was so depressed. I was so sad. Just because I was so excited about this challenge, and then to not be able to do it, I was just like, I was so sad. I didn't stitch. I did end up stitching that night. I finally pulled myself together and said, okay, stitch something else. I'm going to show you what it is. But I was pretty devastated. I think I just had such a stressful week, and this was like something I was looking forward to doing. And then for this to happen, I'm like, and I'm at the point where most of my patterns, I'm mostly stitching off Pattern Keeper. So everything I've been stitching on recently is something I either have a paper pattern of or was not Pattern Keeper compatible. So I've been stitching off of like just a PDF. And that's what I'm going to be doing for a little bit. So I'm pretty sad because there's a lot of patterns that I want to be working on. At first I highly considered just abandoning the HAID. I really did. I was like, I'm not going to mark this all off again. Like that's bad. I'm not doing that. I did, like I said, I pulled myself together and I said, okay, like, this is fine. You can do this. It's fine. But, I don't know when I'm going to work on it, because I don't know. I don't know when I'm going to work on it, but I have quite a few patterns that are just completely on hold because I don't have access to the pattern. I mean, I still have the PDF, so I could just stitch them off the PDFs, but I'm going to have to figure something out. It's probably going to be involving getting a new tablet, and that's going to, which is not something we were planning on purchasing. at this moment. So it's just been rough. So yeah, if anyone has had this issue and you did get it fixed, that would be great to know. But yeah, I'm so sad. I'm so sad about it. So what I ended up stitching instead, because I'm sure that's what you want to know, is I was like, okay, let's pull out a project that I love, that is big, that I also want to get a lot of progress on. And so what I went with was my Dimensions Gold Collection Wind Moon Fairy. And this is on a paper chart that I'm manually marking. And I know that you can get from Dimensions, if you show them that you own the pattern, you can get a PDF file, but it's not Pattern Keeper compatible. So fortunately, I never put it in Pattern Keeper, or I never got the PDF. So I've just been using the paper. So here it is. I'm going to post a picture of where I was before, and here I am now. And I have done, for my Giro d'Italia stitching, I've done 518 stitches, give or take, okay? Because I am having to count stitches rather than just have Pattern Keeper keep track of it for me, I am reserving the right to be off by a couple. But if I'm off, I'm trying to be off by like or I'm trying to stitch more than I think I have rather than like less. So I'm trying to compensate for potential human error in that. But here we are. So I will show a picture of where it was, and this is where I am. So I have now, my main goal was to make it down to the corner. So here it's not exactly the corner because there's a little bit of different color, but these last stitches at the bottom, that is as far down, I almost said far south, as far down as it goes. And so here's where we'll end. And I love knowing like the parameters of a piece. Like that is very satisfying to me. So now I can see how much I have kind of visually. After I'd done that, another thing I'm doing, these are half stitches here with 3 strands. I know that traditionally a lot of people when they're counting stitches count half stitches as half a stitch, or like as half a stitch, and they will count 2 half stitches as a whole stitch. I'm not doing that. I'm using my personal prerogative. It's my own challenge for myself, and I'm not doing that. I actually don't feel like, because they're 3/2 or 3/1 on Ada, they're a little bit tight. And I find half stitches harder to count for some reason. So I feel like it doesn't actually take me a whole lot less time to stitch half stitches than it does to stitch like the full crosses. So I'm just going to be, because I'm also not like, blends take you even longer because you have to blend the floss, and I'm not counting blends as 2. So, yeah, there we go. I did this portion, and then I think that was like 2 days, and then I moved over and I started working on more of this dress in here. And I'm not doing back stitching. That's one thing I'm not doing, is I'm not counting any back stitching because I'm not really sure how I would count that. So I'm not doing back stitching. If I do back stitching, it'll just be extra and it won't be counted in my daily totals. So yes, this is about whatever I said, 528 stitches on here. And I'm really excited to see how far I get by the end of this challenge. So I'm really excited. And I'm just using all the kit, everything. Okay, that concludes my stitching. That's all I have for stitching. I don't have a giveaway this week. I don't believe I've been contacted by the person who won the giveaway last video. So please, if you missed my last video and you entered the giveaway in the video before, please check it out. Get in touch with me. I'm going to go back and try to comment on that person's comment, and I'll recheck through my email and stuff because I have been quite busy. So I may have missed it, but I don't think I did. So yes, please reach out to me via my email or Instagram DM if you were the winner of last video's giveaway. And that concludes my stitching. So if you're not interested in a little bit of knitting, then I will see you in the next one, and thank you so much for being here. Okay, if you are interested in knitting, I have an almost finished project. I realized as I was getting set up for this video that I actually didn't fully finish this yet, and it's fine. So, okay, these are my socks. These were actually Advent socks, and I just kept on knitting them afterwards. So this is a sock. This is a sock pattern. It's from Jewels of So Sweet Violet. And I think she used to sell physical items in a shop. She retired and closed her shop, but I don't know if her Ravelry store is still open for digital patterns. So if it is, I will link it below. But these are the Sweet Vanilla Cuff Down socks. I love these socks. I think if you're a beginner, if this is available and you're a beginner sock knitter, I think this is a great one to start out with. So I love this. It's got what she calls a godet heel, and it's got what she calls a beanie toe because it's shaped like a hat decrease, which I love for my foot. I think this works really well. My like own foot shaping. So I stitch it with 56 stitches on a size US 1 needle, which I can never remember what that is in millimeters. And I don't have good enough eyesight to read it off the needles, so I apologize. And this is a mini skein that I have no idea what it is. And then this is Christmas Market by Ruby and Roses. This is my first one. And then my second one, here's the yarn. I don't think that these are like overly Christmassy, which is why I was able to keep working on them through the spring. I do have some stuff where I'm going to be like going places this summer, and I'm going to want to have some socks on the go during those times where, you know, I'm in the car a lot or whatever. And so I am really excited to start a new pair of socks. And this is my last one. I've actually finished all the decreases. I just need to Kitchener the toe. And I have a really terrible habit of putting all of my darning needles in a special place so that I won't lose them, and then forgetting where I put them. So once I find my darning needles, I am going to Kitchener the toe, and then I will need to weave in my ends, and then I will be finished. So really excited about this one. I'm so happy to be getting these done. I think I'm going to not wear these though until Christmas, if I can wait that long. I'm not sure. I'm actually for a long time I had way too many hand knit socks, and now the ones I made, because I've been knitting socks for almost 10 years now, and a lot of the ones I made a long time ago have now started to wear out in ways that they can't be darned easily and everything. And so yeah, maybe I will need to break into those before Christmas, but we'll see. Okay, and then my last thing is I have a little bit of yarn haul, and I have a question for y'all. So I want your feedback on a pattern. So I'm going to show you some yarn, and then I'm going to ask you guys to help me pick which pattern I should start with this yarn, because this yarn is so special to me and I cannot decide. And I really, really want to start a new pattern with this yarn. So this yarn is from Plies and Hellhounds. This yarn is really special to me, and I'm going to get into why. So Plies and Hellhounds, she is one of my most favorite yarn dyers. You guys probably, I would say like easily 50%, if not more, of the stuff I knit is knit with Plies and Hellhounds. Gabby's aesthetic is my aesthetic. Like we have the same taste in everything. She doesn't probably even know who I am. We definitely have never met in person, but I love everything she creates. And so the colors are just, I love her color sense. And so I'm always interested in the new things that she's putting out, but this particular collection, which is this one right here, happens to mean even more to me. So she did this as a collaboration with Larkspur Knits, and there is a pattern that kind of goes along with this, but it doesn't use, I think, all three of the colors. I think it uses it uses a different way of combining the colors. So I did like the pattern, but I want to do a pattern that involves all three of these. So let me explain. So this is the I don't know if there's like a name of this collaboration or this like collection, but essentially this collection was created, and it is created after the Conley sisters. And the Conley sisters were Helena, Lyda, and Ida. And they were really important in the field of Native American law. So they lived in Kansas, like the late 1800s, essentially. And they were Wyandot, which is a tribe that is, I think, originally from that area of the country, and then now is headquartered in Northeast Oklahoma. And because tribes were relocated to what is now Oklahoma. And their ancestral family cemetery was being threatened to be, I think, condemned or like taken over by somebody else. And so in order to advocate against this, two of the sisters, I think Lyda and maybe Helena, went to law school. And Lyda actually was the one that ended up taking the bar exam and becoming an attorney. And she became the first Native American female attorney in the entire United States, which is really cool. And so I am an attorney, and my area of specialty is Native American law. So I saw this collection, and first I like love the colors, just like look at them, they're stunning. And I was like, oh, that's pretty. Let me like read this. And then once I realized that it was made for Lyda Conley and her sisters, I was like all the feels. I was like, I have to own this collection. I have to. It was so funny because I had just reorganized all my yarn, and I was like, okay, I'm not buying anything else. No more yarn purchases until I like clear out at least one of these bins. And then like the next day this collection came out, and I was like, well, this is, how many times am I going to find a collection of yarn inspired by the first Native American female attorney? So I have to, right? So anyway, these are the colors. I like I said, I'm so obsessed with this, this whole collection, and like just the story behind it, the meaning behind it, who it's inspired by, and also just the colors, like I said, are beautiful. So this one is Ida, and it's like this silvery with blue in it. This one is Helena, which is like a burgundy. It has, the rust is a lot more prominent on screen. It's a very, very subtle, variegated, this one. This one is, and then this one is almost a solid, and this is Lyda. And it is another slightly variegated color, and I love it. And this is on her Selkie base, which is 85% non-superwash merino and 15% silk. And it's a fingering weight. And so I think this would be perfect for a shawl. And I need help deciding which one to do. So I'm going to show you the pictures. I'm going to see if I can show you on my phone. And I want you to tell me which one you think I should do. So the first one is called the Hinterland Shawl, and it's by Helen Stewart. And this is what the Hinterlands shawl looks like. So I want something that will show off all three colors and will use as much of the yarn as I can, so I don't have like a ton of leftovers. So there's the Hinterlands shawl. And the other two I'm thinking of are the Suburban Wrap, which is by Joji Locatelli. So there's the Suburban Wrap. This one is it's like a longer, skinnier one, whereas the other one was like a triangular shawl. Sorry about the glare. But there's the Suburban Wrap. And yeah, that has a little bit more textures in it, I think. And then the other one is the 3-color cashmere shawl, also by Joji Locatelli. And this one is like a crescent shaped shawl. And it has got some texture, a little bit of lace, some eyelets. And this one's a little bit different because it kind of has like mostly 2 colors, and then another color is just like a big chunk of it. So anyway, let me know in the comments below if you've made it this far. This is how I will know. But also because I cannot decide, because I feel like this yarn is so special to me that I want it to be like the perfect pattern. If you are a knitter and you have done 3 color fingering weight shawls and you have a different one that you think I might like, I don't want anything too difficult. Like, I'm not looking for brioche or like too much color work or like mosaic knitting or anything like that. As much as that would be cool, I also need to know that I know how to do all those skills, but at this point, knitting is not my primary hobby. And so I want something that's a little bit makes me think, isn't boring, but at the same time isn't like so challenging that I won't want to like watch TV or something while I'm doing it. So anyway, so these are the colors. Those were my options. So let me know down below which one you think I should do. Even if you're not a knitter, I value your feedback. So please tell me which one of those shawls you think I should start. And I would love to know. I don't promise that I will do the one that has the most votes, but I really want like some other folks' feedback. So I thought this was the perfect place to like solicit it. So that is my kind of plans. And for my stitching plans, I'm just gonna have to see what happens with my tablet, my pattern keeper. And I'm not gonna spin my wheel, because at this point I can't guarantee that I can work on what it lands on. So I'm just so sad about it. But anyway, maybe I'll do some extra knitting because I can't access my my pattern keeper. So we will see. So thank you so much for joining me. I am going to leave you here, and I really appreciate all of you for taking some time to spend with me. And I hope you have a great next couple weeks, and I hope you get lots of crafting time.